Hello. So one question I'm asked a lot is, what do I do when I sound breathy? How do I make things I'm singing sound less breathy? So first of all, my first and foremost answer to this is, especially when you're between the age, when you're a preteen, when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, through your early 20s, there are tons of hormones and chemicals going through your body. You can't always control how you're going to sound. And one natural side effect of some of these hormones running through your body is that you will sound to yourself breathy. So not all of it is in control. It doesn't always mean you're doing something wrong. In fact, most of the time, you are not doing anything wrong. However, occasionally, perceived breathiness could be the result of something that you could be doing a little bit more proficiently. So it could be due to an excess of breath. Actually, you may have too much breath going on. You may be breathing too well. Additionally, you may not be breathing the right way. So we're going to address each of these instances and what to do, ways you can practice to try to eliminate this from your singing. So scenario number 1, you are too breathy. Maybe your singing sounds a little bit like this to you. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Just kind of breathy, full of breath. Bright copper kettles and warm wool. Instead of raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. You want it to sound more clear. So scenario number 1, let's pretend you are taking the perfect breaths. You know you're breathing deeply, you know you're breathing well, you're focusing on your breath a lot, you don't understand why you're sounding breathy. So one thing that may be going on, again, a quick disclaimer, it may just be hormones and chemicals going through your body. You may not be able to do anything about it. It's up to you and your voice teacher to figure that out. But there is a scenario where you may be over breathing. You may be breathing too much. So I'm going to give an example. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. So just now, I was breathing really deeply. I was using my diaphragm, but I sounded breathy. Now, if I scroll the camera down and I show where most of the work is happening, I don't know if I can quite get it. Most of the work was happening really up here. I was not using my actual diaphragm, my lower stomach. So I'm gonna turn to the side so you can kind of see what's going on. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles, and do you see how this up here is just moving in really fast? So let me show you how it should look. First of all, down here, this is what should be moving the most. Up here should be a little bit more relaxed, but let's watch now. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. So the breath, especially the lower stomach, is continuously going more and more in. You shouldn't be expelling too much breath. You shouldn't be holding anything up here tense. It should not be tense at all times. So the air should not just be blasting straight out. It should be a little more controlled. Okay, so that is scenario number 1. Now, how do you fix that? Well, it takes a while. There are some exercises you can do. There's some things you can do to become more aware of whether or not that is your problem, whether or not that is happening. One way is just put your hands in your stomach and sing a little bit and see what you notice. Do you notice your stomach going in really fast? Do you notice only the top is going in a little bit and it's going in little short bursts? Or do you feel a nice, steady pulling in over time? Is the flow of air steady? So you can try that. Another thing you can do is lay flat on your back while you sing. That is a great thing to do. I recommend that for everybody. Everybody should sing and practice while laying flat on their back on the floor with hands on your stomach. You should feel your stomachs really, really moving and going in. There are two other things you can do that I know of, at least. One is try leaning over a piano. Or I'm gonna do a piano, but you don't have to do a piano. Try propping yourself up against a surface. So let's see if I can make this a little bit more in here, like this, while you sing. Drop your head and make sure you are pushing yourself up against the surface. It could even be a wall. So try singing like that. And lastly, you could even try to bend straight over something. I have my students do this all the time. So have yourself bend like this so that you can really feel the tension and what's going on in your stomach. Like this. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. When you do that, you should really feel the tension in your stomach, a steady flow of breath. And no tension, nothing going on up here, basically. Okay, so that is the situation where you have too much breath. You know you're doing your breathing, you're focusing on your breathing a lot, you don't understand why you're breathy. So I highly recommend doing those two exercises, 3 actually, laying flat on your back, propping yourself up against something while you sing and drop your head, and leaning straight over something like that bench that I just leaned over. So the second situation is you may not be taking proper breaths, which again is a whole separate video, but that is definitely a reason why some people may sound too faint and like the air is just going straight through their vocal cords way too fast. So definitely work with your teacher on taking correct breaths. If you are taking a correct breath, the shoulders should not go up. The shoulders should stay nice and relaxed. The belly should go out. So you should see like that. And shoulders relaxed. One exercise you can do to practice is to imagine you are smelling a rose. That is the absolute best breath you can possibly take for singing, is the breath you take when you're smelling a flower. So imagine you're smelling a rose. That is the perfect singing breath. Okay, and there's one more exercise you can do if nothing is really working. And when nothing is really working, this exercise with my students has had 100% success. When you are practicing your repertoire, practicing the songs that you're singing, before each phrase that you sing, try to expel and push out all of your breath first. So like this. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings, these, until you completely run out of breath. If your singing all of a sudden gets a lot more clear when you do that, the issue was support. You either had too much breath, you're over-breathing, or you weren't breathing in the right way. So those are some exercises you can do, and 2 possible causes if you think you have been sounding breathy lately. Give them a try. Thanks for watching.